Hey, listeners, how's it going? Back again. This is Good Idea Interesting. Coming at you with a very special episode today. Um, we've been getting a lot of listener mail, a lot of write-ins, a lot of comments, just personal people that we know um, saying, when are you going to do a meditative episode, more of an emotional well-being sort of seminar, because that's kind of what we're known for in some parts of our community. Um, so we didn't want to disappoint those people. We wanted to give it to you. You've been asking for it, so we're going deep on feelings today. Isn't that right?
Yes, we are. And the anticipation for this episode has been growing, burgeoning for me. I'm really excited to get into it with you. I really admire you, Jacob, as being um one of the most emotional masters that I know, and I seek guidance from you weekly, sometimes daily. But we go back and forth and talk, experience on the experiential side of emotion, but also about the theoretical and the scientific and the psychological, more like clinical stuff. And that's what we pride ourselves in, being sort of a multidimensional theorists on this stuff. Today you might be wondering, what the what the H, what the heck do these goobers do good idea interesting hosts Jake and Isaiah have up on as our background? And that leads us into our topic, Jacob, if you want to introduce our topic for today. Emotional well-being, obviously, is the overarching series, right?
Yes,
But
absolutely. But we've talked a lot about this. We have a chat, a group chat, just the two of us, where we like to, you know,
Slack,
say that
Slack.
again. Yeah.
It's on
And
Slack.
yeah. And we'll compare notes about this. And we've been talking for a long time about what the best approach would be to put this in a podcast. And we decided that yes, it's an emotional well-being series, but we need to take each feeling on individually. So
Yeah.
you're not gonna see, you know, a whole episode about, oh my goodness, happiness and sadness. It's like each of those things are far too large to really say anything meaningful about, by comparing or contrasting them. You need to take each emotion, chop it up individually. So these will be episodes you could listen to a bunch of them in one day if you are a complete glutton for punishment and you want to just intellectually tax
Oh,
yourself, um,
oh man. Which,
into the ground. But
some of our listeners, myself included, might be prone to, but um for now we're gonna take the life experience pie and we're gonna cut it up into little slices for you. Um, Today's piece of the pie, um, it tackles one of the most primary and fundamental emotions that any person experiences, um, and that is frustration with your pet. So today we're going to be talking about the theory, the um, experiential, both as well as clinical side to this emotion. We're going to go back and forth and create a really rich, we've got a really rich series planned for you on this emotion. Um,
yeah,
so yeah, frustration with your pet, Jacob. Talk to me.
I think a lot of listeners right now are probably breathing a huge sigh of relief because it's something that might even be, experiencing right now. Um, we'll probably release this sometime around January, February. This will be about the time you're taking your holiday decorations down. Um, it's a cold part of the year, but there's no Christmas magic. Hanukkah's past us. We're sort of in the middle of frustrating winter time for a lot of animals who, have a huge emotional attachment to the holidays, and they're going to be acting out. Um, they start to express themselves. Sometimes it can come out in ways that we don't find productive as human beings because we're communicating across the species barrier. This makes frustration with a pet a unique emotion because it's not something that can be communicated through in the traditional sense, right? Um, it's a frustration that features, you know, cockeyed stares from a barking spaniel instead of, compassionate communication from your partner Daniel. It's that's a way to remember. That's something we remember in a clinical setting. It's a saying, but that's good for the layman as well. I feel of just understanding the difference. So, what can this look like? Your pet wants food. They don't understand that it's not time for them to eat. You know, you have their best interest in mind when you're taking them out for a nighttime walk, but they just want to sit around and watch TV. You know, they might even be getting into your belongings, rooting around in some of your, plants, little files or organized stacks you might have. Basically, this is just frustrating. And it's with your pet, no less. A sweet little, you know, a little guy that you love. And
Mm,
it can just feel so bad. So, you know, I've been there. Everybody to know that I have. I've had miscommunication issues. I've had non-communication issues. Um, yeah, and I've even had a scratch or two from a cat.
mm.
But that doesn't mean that that's where I am all the time. It's something that I have faced, overcome, and I want everybody to know that that's possible.
Wow. Just an inspiring account. I think that, and great sort of overview on this stuff. Sometimes when we are in the thick of a frustrationary period with a pet, right? Say that you are repeatedly finding clumps of their fur under your favorite, place to put your technology, computers, devices, TVs, gaming systems. Fur isn't actually supposed to go with technology. There's a lot of little nooks and crannies that the fur can get into. And maybe there's a repeated, with pets, sometimes it's like, oh, you say I have a pet named Sally. And sometimes you might be thinking, oh, is this my pet Sally or is this my pet repeat offender for this type of stuff? Because they may do it again and again. Um, so, you know, with pets, we might come at a crossroads and it might feel like there is no end in sight. As Jacob said earlier, these things pass. So that's the first sort of pillar that we want to build within ourselves when we experience pet to owner frustration is this will pass, right? The other thing, we can be our own worst enemy in these situations, right? Jacob, tell me
Definitely.
if you can relate to the feeling of I am feeling an immense amount of frustration for my, salamander because, maybe they're gooing up the tank more than usual, or, they don't want to be social when I have my friends over and they're hiding under the stone. that is in their little nest, for example. Um, what's the first thought that comes to mind in that situation? It might be different for everyone. I'm curious, Jacob, if you have some valuable insight into that sort of first emotion and then that transformation.
Ooh, yeah, it's really good catch that first moment. This is what we want to develop, is just sort of an awareness, an intellectual awareness, a body awareness of when those emotions are rising up, right?
Hmm. Yep.
It's like your bird is leaving feathers in your favorite place to put your technology.
Right.
This happens all the time, right? Don't let that just be one more part of the flow of your day, is discovering this and getting mad and not even thinking about it. As the emotion rises within you, we want to recognize what's happening, right? This is why this is so valuable right now. You can think of this episode of us talking about this right now. This can be a trigger point for you where you can say, "Oh, I listened to an episode about this." Remember yourself as a listener and remember the episode, basically, because it's really happening right now. It's really happening. Oh my gosh, I'm getting frustrated with my pet. Then we're just going to take a breath, right? And we're going to say, we're going to step into our first action step, right? We have several
Yep.
action
So
steps.
we're gonna outline these action steps. Pulling up the whiteboard, our age-old friend. Um, so yeah, let's talk about action steps. So feelings rising, feeling equals rising. So this is sort of the first stage. Um, what's the first action step? Say it's feathers, feathers or fur in technology area. So let's just say this is the example.
Oh, I'm just
This is the
laughing
stage.
with recognition of this happening to me so many times.
It's
Ugh.
funny because I'm excited for the comments. I'm a little bit wary of the comments because I know how explosive this feeling can be,
Yes, yes.
right?
Ugh.
But we need to stay connected to action steps. So what are action steps?
So the first step is just like literally one of the easiest things you can do. We're recognizing the feeling. We've already talked about that. That's almost the first action, but because it's a recognition in the mind, right?
Hmm.
It's a spontaneous learned reaction recognition. It's not
Right. This
necessarily an action step.
It's perception. Another ION word,
Well,
perception.
we'll do another episode on perception soon, but right now we're focusing on action steps. Number one action step: it's okay to feel this. That's your action. You need to tell that to yourself.
Yep.
You need to say it out loud, and once you get good at that, you can start thinking it exclusively in your head.
And I
This
want to
is
make
this is a
it
lot how they learn this, but this is a lot like how they learn the spells in Harry Potter. After a certain point, they don't have to say them out loud.
exactly, exactly. And we'll do another episode on that as well. I do want to make clear that even though there are quotations here, this is not sarcastic, obviously, right? These quotations means that it is an action. It's something that you want to say to yourself. Um, any more on that before we move on?
Look, giving yourself the grace and just promising yourself the space to hold these feelings, you know, and to really acknowledge it's okay to feel this. It takes practice. You're not going to get it the first time. You're going to find something in the technology area, something pet related, and you're going to say, it's okay to feel you. It's not going to come out right away. It's that, oh my gosh, the words are going to get jumbled up and caught up. And you might sputter and spit. You might leak out of your mouth. It's
Mm.
it's normal, and
Leaking is
because
normal.
you're in your own home, because you're in your own home with your pet, anything that comes out of your mouth is something that you can clean up easily, and you don't need to be scared. So just practice. Keep
Hmm.
trying.
Yeah, keep trying. The next action step is super different, but I would say in the family membership of this, it's okay to name the feeling. It is okay to say to yourself, I am frustrated with my pet for putting feathers or fur in the technology area, if that's the scenario. Say the scenario is poop in my shoe. This is the thing. We could write a list of scenarios that I'm sure all of us have felt. Poop in my shoe, slobber in my cereal, right? You know,
Bite
pee in,
marks in the newspaper.
bite marks in the newspaper, can't read the news, can't read what's going on. I mean, these are powerful emotions. It's okay to feel this, and it's okay to name the feeling, because with that naming of the feeling, um, actually gives us strength. Um, it actually gives us the self-awareness to move, to embody and move on. There's a fly actually, funnily enough, that landed just now on my sweater, my sweatshirt. Um,
It's
Not my
okay.
pet. It's okay. It's okay to feel. It's like, is it okay to feel frustration with things that aren't technically your pets? You know,
That is advanced, but the answer is yes. Yeah.
the answer is yes. Um, so yeah, what any thoughts on this, Jay?
Nah, bro, it's beautifully put. It is okay to name the feeling, and again, you're gonna practice. You're not gonna get it the first time. Okay? It's not gonna be
100%.
perfect. You're not gonna say the right name of the right feeling. But that's okay.
It's all part of the plan. Um, Moving on to further action steps. Um, this is a big one actually. Um, Understand the brain as a metaphor. This can be huge in allowing us to, um, yeah, I mean, what does this mean? What in the world do we mean by this?
Yeah. I'm not totally sure. But I completely agree here with you. So,
Yeah, it's a whole realm, right? If you think so, a common metaphor is, say, okay, what's an object or a thing that we can connect the brain as? I like to think about the brain. This is sort of an example. We can all create personal metaphors. This is sort of this is the action step. This is the call to action, is we create our own metaphors to help us understand, right? I like to think about, and this is just me, I like to think about the brain as a realm.
okay.
So, so look, that's me. I'm curious what your chosen metaphor is, and see if that can give insights, um, helpful insights.
It's well, I've always thought of the brain more as a blueprint.
That's really good. No, look, 100%. I mean, each object that you choose, you'll know when you reach the right object when you get a a like a sort of that feeling when you're on a roller coaster and your stomach drops and
Mm,
it feels like sort of like a ticklish feeling in your stomach. That's how you know.
yeah. Yeah, you're gonna know when you find your metaphor for the brain. It's really tough because once you get there, you're not even gonna know why you chose that. It's gonna feel like it's something that you're drawn to inexorably. Um, but it's gonna feel right. And this is a high level concept for frustration with your pet, but it's extremely important. So let's move on.
Extremely important. Do not skip this step, but let's move on. You want to tackle the introduce this last step? It's a fun one.
So okay, so we're through this process, right? We got to put the cherry on top. Forgiveness Sunday. It's okay to feel this. It's okay to name the feeling. I understand the brand as a metaphor. Now, as for that feeling at the beginning that we had, the frustration with our pet, don't run away. Walk away.
Don't run away from the feeling, right? Do not run away from this feeling. Walk away,
Right.
right?
Don't run away
We
from the feeling. Don't run away from the feeling. You need to run away from your pet depending on the scenario.
This is true. This is actually incredibly true. And a footnote, um, I'll put a little here, asterisk here. Um, don't run away, asterisk equals from the feeling, right? Do not run away from the feeling. If your pet and if you're in a dangerous situation with your pet, we do recommend that you actually, in fact, do run away from
Yes.
the scene, from that, you know,
And we've
um,
gotten in trouble for failing to make this distinction in the past.
yes, we've gotten in big trouble, and some other people actually got in bigger trouble because they, maybe got bite marks, cat cat or bird bite marks on their leg, right? If you have a loose and angry bird, or a, say a snake that has increased its venom level, and also its level of the ability to escape from its tank,
Hmm.
you would want to run away. So, but in terms of the emotion of frustration with your pet, don't run away, walk away. So anyways, these action steps are super repeatable. They're really easy to remember. Um, I know we're all dealing with this, and especially in this time as this episode's coming out, like we do want to be wary of built up frustration. As Jacob mentioned earlier, it's post holiday, post euphoria of Santa and Hanukkah, and New Year's resolutions might be wearing down.
Totally.
Um, so yeah, so Jacob, do you want to take us into our next um segment here?
Absolutely. You've been hearing us say practice, 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 um, for a lot of this episode, and it's true. There's no way around it. But it would be wrong of us to not give you guys the opportunity to practice, practice in a safe scenario, in a meditative scenario, and with trusted guides. So we're going to do a bit of a guided meditation here. Um, I'm really excited for us to get this started. We're going to enter a soundscape together, and then Isaiah and I will narrate some of the things that are happening. We're going to embody a scenario. You're going to be experiencing it in first person. So just prepare yourself for that,
Mhm.
and let's get it started.
Yep. This is super duper exciting. Our first live guided meditation series begins now. Oh, gotta make sure I'm sharing the sound as well. Sharing the sound. So, listenership, take one deep breath, close your eyes, and welcome to a new experience.
Ah, I'm home. Long day at work. The boss had me running up and down the hallway, bringing reports back and forth. It was a complete immersion into the world of human struggles. Business, profits, corporate enterprise, business. I am so fed up. Can't wait to go back to the simpler emotional world of my home. Television entertainments taking me to far off new worlds, comforting leftovers, food I used to eat and could eat again. And of course, my pet. My pet, my pet. As far away as possible from my bald human boss. Oh, I love my pet. I love when my pet is happy. I love when my pet relies on me and trusts me. And here I am, going to see them, walking into my own front door.
Knock, knock. That's silly. I don't need to knock. I have the key right here in my pockets. The door slowly opens to my humble abode. A plant greets me on my left. I'll need to water that one later. A sigh of relief exits my mouth. I'm in a new sanctuary, a sanctuary of comfort and personal space. A tall cup of water is in order. I need to hydrate after a long day at the office. The amount of talking I did, it makes me feel like all of the moisture has left my body completely. I need to get some water. Oh, my favorite mason jar. Where is it? Wait, this isn't right. I left it on the upper left shelf next to the plates above my microwave, where I usually keep it. But it's not there. Oh, duh. Silly me. I left it on the sink in the bathroom next to the toilet. I was drinking water. last night while I was in the bathroom, going to the bathroom. Sometimes drinking water makes it easier for my digestive tract. I walk easily to the bathroom. I open the door and my heart sinks, my mouth agape. My favorite mason jar shattered on the floor. What happens next?
For a moment, my mind is completely blank. I am all lungs, all heart, all gritted teeth. Slowly, the rest of my body comes back through my nose. My tingling nose, sniffling nose, and crying tear ducts. I bat my eyes and remember childhood, all the times I've cried before. This is just the latest in a long line of disappointments in my life. Immediately, my thoughts turn to revenge, accountability, punishment. I feel an intense drive to discover and imprison the entity responsible for my broken mason jar. This won't be easy, but it might be obvious. I know that my pet is rambunctious and energetic. This is a quality in my pet that I love, but that can sometimes be taxing when guests are over or when I just want to lay quietly on the floor for a while. I realize that almost beyond a doubt, it's my pet that has caused this terrible commotion. And when I think back on my walk through my apartment, my quest to fetch water, and then my journey from the kitchen to the bathroom, I realize my pet was nowhere to be found. They comport themselves in my home with a sense of guilt. And there it is, all the evidence I need to collect to know what's transpired. My pet broke my mason jar, and I'm upset.
I'm exactly. I'm so upset. Wow. I think about stomping. What good will that do? I think about eating all the leftovers as fast as I can and then throwing the dish across the room. No. I'll eat at the appropriate time. I have to compose myself. One deep breath.
It's
Two deep breaths.
okay to feel this.
3 deep breaths. 4 deep breaths.
It's okay to name the feeling.
5 deep breaths.
I am
6
frustrated with my pet.
6 deep breaths.
for all the positive qualities of my pet, the inevitabilities of time, and the intractable nature of interpersonal, interspecies conflict have resulted in a moment of my frustration.
7 deep breaths.
I work hard now to understand the brain as a metaphor. I look within.
8 deep breaths. And my brain, what is it? What is it really? Huh, I found it.
I found it.
A pumpkin.
A tree.
A pumpkin because of all the hard outer shell
Well,
and the stuff inside.
but it could be argued it's a tree
Well,
because of the way that it grows, that it grows
a tree
worshipfully
is a
toward
tree.
this, that it can be lit up
A
for the
tree is a tree.
holidays.
Like a pumpkin can, specifically for Halloween. It can be molded, it can be carved, it can be scooped.
The scary elements of Halloween dirty the metaphor.
Pumpkins don't just relate to Halloween. That's actually a common misconception about pumpkins, is that they actually exist and aren't just related to the season of fall and Halloween and spookiness. They can create gourds.
But if we're honest about the cultural context, the metaphorical significance of like a pumpkin, the tree is clean. The tree is clean. It's a clean way to.
I'm trying to break away from.
Okay, well, this isn't meditation.
Imposed.
It's not activist literature.
Okay, well, it's trying to, do some good where I can.
What if it's a
What
if it's a pumpkin tree?
A pumpkin tree. Perfect.
And the pumpkins are the ornaments of the tree.
Yeah. Okay. So they grow really big pumpkins. Okay. 8 deep breaths.
And I don't run away from the feeling. I simply walk.
Oh. Listeners, that was a guided meditation led, devised, written, brainstormed, and executed by Jacob and Isaiah. We welcome you to a new balanced reality. We welcome you to a new level of relaxation. Carry this with you, and when you gaze into the eyes of your pet and see the wag of its tail, or the flap of its feather, or the meow of its mouth, remember these truths. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time. Keep listening.
Keep listening.